Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's video we're going to break down episode 1 of the Lord of the Mysteries anime. When watching the first anime, I gotta give it props. The animation looks stunning. They really outdid themselves. This is one of the few animes where the author actually went into production when creating the anime. He's the author of the novel Lord of the Mysteries, and he's one of the few authors that actually oversaw the production of his own adaptation of his novel. And as you can see for yourselves how stunning this animation looks. It looks polished to the max. Every design, every concept, every transition was, I believe he actually stood and directed it. That's why we can actually, for those of you who haven't read the novels, I'm a person that actually read the whole novels, the whole book, the whole volumes, etc., etc. Especially book 1, book 2. I read it all. And I can tell you from my experience from reading novel 1 and novel 2, the author has an amazing sense of defining every concept that he wants to put into his books, every transitions of or any effect that a character has gone through, any power or any system. He's cleverly brilliant when using his words, carefully crafting the scene. He's truly wonderful, if I can put it that way. He's truly godlike. To tell you the state of a character that just goes through this transformation, I'm telling you, you won't believe. He's one of the authors, the few authors that actually describe the scenes to you word for word. And as we've just said, he was actually involved in the production of his own adaptation of his book. Some of you have picked up that there's too many transitions, right? From one state to the next, from one colorful display to the next. We go from something solid to something liquid in like 0 point something seconds or 1 second, 2 seconds. It's too many transitions, and then we go from one world to the next. We go to stunning visualizations that includes furniture, and then we suddenly delve into a place where there's water, there's fogs and whatever. That's basically what I'm trying to tell you, is that the author carefully he actually crafted his own animations before the animation came out. He crafted his own animations when he wrote the book. And that's why I believe it was a good idea for him to actually come into production and then actually direct. So in episode 1 of Lord of the Mysteries, we open up on a scene that is straight out of a horror movie. It is raining, it is damp, the moon is high in the sky, glowing red, and then we open up with cathedrals in front, churches, and then it gives us a stamp, a date, the 9th of September, the 5th approach, right? The Iron Age. So here's some key details that you might not know corresponding to the novel. The 5th epoch is basically compared to Industrial Revolution. In this world, they call it the Iron Age, steampunk setting. You know, iron, gears, as well as steam everywhere. Just keep that at the back of your mind, and I promise you, it will actually help you to understand what type of age that we can actually fit into the different approach. There's currently 5 approach, right? This is a key detail that you must keep it in the back of your mind. So we're skipping to Klein Moretti waking up in his desk with a gun in front, as well as notebooks. This is about 2 months ago. And I just want to raise a point, right? Whenever you're watching the anime, pay close attention to the transitions, because I think the anime designers, the art workers, as well as the studio, they actually added an extremely huge amount of transitions from basically anything magical, anything supernatural. It won't actually harm the anime. I think it will actually boost the creativity, and its visual stunning effects, as well as explaining supernatural events, as well as telling how such things feel when they happen to the main character. The transmigrator Zio Mungri transmigrated into the body of Klein Moretti. Klein Moretti is already dead. The evidence is quite clear. There's a gun on the desk, or it gives you an inkling of what had happened. But what has happened is that Klein committed suicide is due to supernatural forces. Hence, that's why Zio transmigrated into Klein's body. And now Zio in Klein's body is actually spooked at what's happening. Or he actually believes this might be a nightmare. He's trying to get a feel for what's happening around him. The red moonlight shining in doesn't help at all. The blood that is actually on the table actually spooked the guy, as well as the guns, as well as the bloody handprint on that notebook, and the blood spatter on the floor. A pounding headache from the wound that was inflicted due to suicide. You can see it's drastically giving him a serious, painful sensation. All right, skipping forward, two bodies laying on the floor, one body being a female, one body being a male. The female body is called Naya, and the male is Welch McGovern. These are Klein Moretti's classmates, right? They are all three of them graduated from the I hope I'm saying it right, core universities as history graduates. They both committed suicide under supernatural forces. This is because of the same notebook that all three of them tried to decipher from the fourth epoch. Hence, they might have been influenced by this notebook, the Antigenus family notebook. Clint stays with his sister Melissa and his brother Benson. One thing you might not know about Melissa, just to give you a bit of a background about Melissa, she's really into technology. She's really into gears, as well as inventions. She believes any phenomenon that happens in the world can be explained through technology. She does not believe in goddesses, deities. She does not believe in magic. She does not believe in supernatural. So as we transition from Melissa leaving, we see an overview of how the city looks like in the Iron Cross side of All County in Tension City. This is where Clean and his other two siblings live. We can see its dampness, its filth. We can see it's a lot of smoke, chimneys in the novel that the author describes well. These living conditions. So as Clean enters the tent, right, the lady asks if she can do a divination for Clean. Now, a divination is the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown through supernatural means. It involves interpreting signs, omens, using rituals to gain insight into situations or questions. Different cultures and individuals employ various methods of divination, including astrology, trot cards, scrying, and more. Now, as you can see, what she wants to perform is trot cards. So Clean accepts important information here. There are three very important realms in the Lord of the Mystery series. There are three very important realms. The first realm is the astral realm, right? That I'll cover in a future video. The second realm is reality where everybody lives. Everybody physically stays and lives in. The third is the spiritual realm. Spiritual realm is a very important realm. There's no past, present, or future in a sense of a straight line, right? Going from one point to the next, to the next, to the next. It doesn't exist in such a way. All the information that is the past, present, or future is stacked on top of each other. It is combined into one, meaning all the information that you can actually get from the spiritual realm is there and there for you. It just depends on the question that you want to ask, meaning any event that has happened, will happen, or is happening is already within the spiritual realm. Every person's soul is linked to the spiritual realm. Your soul interacts with it. It just depends on the level that you're at. Perhaps, let's say, demigod, that you can actually get a much higher clarity on a event that might have happened or will happen or is happening. Maybe a catastrophic event that has happened. When peering into such an event, it might cause an ordinary citizen to die. Because why? There might be heavy mysticism involved. There might be a lot of deities involved. For example, if an ordinary person witnesses that, that could be seen as blasphemy. But focusing back on the topic, the spiritual realm is very important. Any information that you want is there. It just depends on your level. You can get revelations also from the spiritual realm. And all your information, all that is you, is within the spiritual realm. But what is dangerous about the spiritual realm? There are pros and cons. But what is dangerous about the spiritual realm is when you enter physically into the spiritual realm, it is very dangerous, because if you don't have a navigation of any sort that can help you navigate the spiritual realm, it is possible for you to exit at a certain point in time that might shoot you out into the past or into the future, thereby dooming yourself never to return back to where you were. And that's quite scary. Imagine if you were just an explorer and you think it might be a good idea just to stay for 1 minute for sightseeing in the spiritual realm. You just want to see some spirits, some ghosts there, and then you decide just 1 minute and then you'll exit. If you don't have the correct navigation, you will end up either in the future or the past, and you won't be able to return. This goes for higher beings as well. But returning to the topic, like I said, so the woman will do a trot card divination for Klein. He's the occupant of the grey fog. As you will see when we move forward, he's actually the occupant of the grey fog. That means he has a special inheritance. He's special in such a way that revelations given to him at this period, at his level, let me put it to you this way, at his level, they still come with a certain truth. So what is the question Klein would want answers to? Well, he asks her, can she do a divination about his past, present, or future, so that he can get answers about them, right? He cuts the deck. She places 3 cards in front of him. She asks which one does he want to know first. He picks the present, flips the card. It shows the Fool. Ha! That's quite interesting. Why that is? Well, if you are not a short card expert, don't worry. The Fool card holds a distinction of being the first card in a trot deck. It symbolizes the embrace of new beginnings, the expansion of one's horizon, and the willingness to take risks guided by intuition. In simpler terms, it encourages you to listen to your inner feelings and take a leap of faith. Quite interesting, because once we move on to the different scene, we'll see him pick up the name the Fool. That will be his go-to. That will be what people will refer him as, Mr. Fool. It's quite interesting. The mysteries of the Fool doesn't end there. It still goes deeper than that as the story progresses, and that's the fun of it. That's the fun of what the author is trying to build. He doesn't leave it just at that. He has more to show us of the symbolism of the Fool, and it's quite interesting when you read it in the novel. And I have high hopes that he can actually execute these symbolisms through the representation of the anime. You're in for some crazy plot points, some crazy character development. But anyway, moving on, right? We transition to the bedroom. So Klein is intending to recreate the luck changing ritual. Interestingly, in the novel, it's called the luck enhancement ritual, and I think it's a more fitting name, because before transmigrating, Xiao Mingri, he was actually plagued by bad luck. I think it was for like 2 weeks or 1 week. Can't remember the details as of now. And then he was approached with a script called the luck enhancement ritual. So he tried it, and in the first couple of seconds as the episode starts, we see the transition of the transmigrating happening, right? So Klein actually deduced that because of the luck changing ritual, that was the cause of him transmigrating into this new world, right? And he's about to perform it again, believing that it will actually change it back. He will actually go back to his original world. He believes it's comfy there, and he has actually deduced at the start of the episode that this world is quite dangerous for him, based on the on the already spooky situation that he landed in, right? The luck changing ritual as he performs, well, it didn't do what he expected. What happened was it transported him to the gray fog. And let me tell you, the visuals, the stunning visuals, oh, beautiful, beautiful. I've read the novel, and I can honestly tell you that the author has he emphasizes on the effects, on the transitions, right, on the environments. He actually emphasizes on all of that. He can actually describe it, and I'm seeing it visually for the first time. I've read it so many times, but this is the first time that I'm actually seeing it on the screen, and I can tell it's I have nothing to complain about. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. It is a bit different from what I've read. From what I've read, it's how I imagined it when being plunged into the gray fog was actually like, like a sunny sky, right, with a boundless gray fog, like a white gray fog, and then under the white gray fog there's like darker gray fog. That's how I read it. That's how I read it. Looking at it in the adaptation, it's nothing like that. It's really nothing like that. It's actually as you can see, it's spooky. It is so dark, like dark gray fog. It's like a different realm, like a realm of the gods. And I think that is what he was going for. That is what he was going for, right? Dark gray fog with a boundless expanse of it. And then there was like dark blue everywhere. Like, it was quite stunning. And then you have something like red orbs everywhere, scattered everywhere, making it look like some sky or some heaven or some universe. Truly gorgeous. I think it was something he actually got inspiration from, like the dust clouds that are scattered in the universe. I think that's where he got inspiration from. It looks something like that, like somebody has like a divine realm in there. But so as we transition, again, we meet Leonard Mitchell. Leonard Mitchell works for the Nighthawks. They serve the Church of the Evernight Goddess. They are the enforcers, the law enforcement when it comes to Beyonders. And Leonard Mitchell, they're investigating a case. The case that happened, that was briefly described at the beginning, the death of Naya and Welch McGovern. These are two friends of the original Klein Moretti, right? So they come to his house and they find that he is supposed to be one of the victims of the Antigenous family notebook, but he's not dead. So they know there's an element of there's an element of supernatural going on here. So they're trying to investigate. Leonard enters Clean's room. He searches for any evidence. He finds the notebook, Clean's notebook, the original Clean's notebook. Finds the last page that says everyone will die, including me, and asks Clean about it. And then introducing the other character, we get Don Smith. He is the captain of the Nighthawks. He is a Sequence 7, which is a nightmare of the Evernight pathway, as well as Leonard Mitchell. He also follows the Evernight pathway. He is a Sequence 8, which is a Midnight Poet. Continuing. So the question was, does he know that his two friends have committed suicide? And apparently his friend Welch McGovern's favorite gun is also missing. Clean had two options. Will he come clean and tell the officers that he doesn't know what's going on? He's a transmigrator. He is actually transmigrated into Klein Moretti's body, or will he spin a story again? He comes clean, not about his transmigration. No, he comes clean that yes, there was an attempt. He did try to commit suicide, but apparently the suicide failed, and because of that, he's missing some memories. Right? He's mixing some truth and lies in there, so that the officers will hear his sincerity in it and might not question further, which it worked. Our protagonist is able to think on the fly, and this ability of his is quite enriching qualities that he has, especially when I read it in a novel. It's quite enriching. The the way he's able to think creatively in situations that are not his expertise. All he is a transmigrator and a keyboard warrior. But his ability to duck and dive these situations, it's quite believable. So they believe him, right? Since Klein is not too clued up on the level of supernatural involved here, the Indigenous family is a noble family, a noble beyond a family from the fourth epoch. Their supernatural level is high. So Klein's half truth, half lies, they worked, but they're not going to be taken at face value and just accept it like that. So they are going to bring a physics expert in order to trigger Klein's memories. There he's shocked that if the physics expert actually works his mind, will they be able to see? So he's taken outside. A kid runs, Dunn catches the kid, the pole, the wooden pole, he kicks it. Klein, it signals to him that this is a chance to actually make a getaway. He runs for it. He runs himself, tired. Ha! Is this a nightmare? And it is. Dunn's sequence is nightmare. He has the ability to trap people in nightmares, right? He has the ability to make people fall asleep and enter their dreams and actually create a type of nightmare. But its most basic form is actually just to trap people in the dream. So Dunn was actually testing Klein's reaction to see if he's actually a psychopath that might stay calm under pressure, or maybe he's like too calm if maybe he was too calm when he heard that his friends committed suicide. So Dunn was actually testing for it, but Klein actually passed the evaluation. So I'm not a physical expert, but Dunn said Klein passed. Right. So they make it so Klein is still stuck in the dream. In the novel, they were traveling by carriage to the physical expert, but in the animation, the physical expert actually came out of said dream of Dunn. So they combined the two dreams. Her name is Daly Simone, a famous spirit medium from the All County who had been living in the Inmat Harbor. She is a beyonder of the death pathway. So she's a spirit medium, which means she will enter Klein's mind and try to extract the memory of where he hid the family notebook. I don't know if you caught it in the beginning, but it was actually Klein was supposed to be the last person to commit suicide. Therefore, it was deduced that he had the notebook lost. The notebook looked like this. The notebook is passed from one person to the next, and as the notebook is passed, the previous holder would commit suicide. So Klein was the last holder, therefore he committed suicide, and he hid the notebook or he gave it to someone. So they're trying to figure out where is the notebook. For instance, here in the mind, we see a sea. So they say the sea is basically the subconscious, right? And the islands are the memories, remembering it right. So if you don't remember something, then it might be stuck deep in the ocean under your subconscious. And they're trying to extract the information. Even if it's just a bit or fragmented, it will surface. Everything is left in the subconscious. Every memory that you might not know that you had is submerged in the subconscious, and they're trying to extract it. But it failed. The spirit medium failed in it because there's no memory. She failed in her extraction of the memory. It is either Klein really doesn't remember where he hid the book, or it is the power involved in this case that is involved here that is truly beyond them. So they raised the alert level. So as Dunn said, protect Klein, but they're not able to protect him forever. They're not babysitters. So Klein has an option to become a beyonder. Now in the story, it is said he started off as a civil servant under the Nighthawks. Therefore, he worked closer to them, and therefore through that could he apply to become a beyonder. But I see here in the episode they actually fast tracking this. So the first option offered to Klein is to become a beyonder. Saves time, compacts the story. And that's it for my review. Thank you. If you enjoyed the review, please like and subscribe. I'll be releasing more videos of breaking down what has happened in comparison to the novel and the animation. I love Lord of the Mysteries. I've read both book 1 and book 2. It is truly an outstanding piece of work. The author is, I truly want to shake his hands personally. I'm a big fan of his. And I know you are too. So please support me. And Next up, I'll release a review of episode 2. There's a lot of hidden details in there. I'll be breaking down stuff that you need to remember going into this in-depth novel. It is truly a worthy read. If you choose to read the novel, I give you my word, you won't be disappointed. Watch the anime. The animation just showed you it has stunning visuals. It has all you need to do is just follow. Don't be upset about too many transitions. Trust me, it's just the author trying to get things right. He just loves his work. He wants to get it right for us to understand this is how it feels, this is how it's supposed to look like. And we need to have its visualization. We need to have it in front of our eyes. This is truly a magnificent work. See you all next time.